Thank y'all so much for tuning into my channel. My name is Charmaine Marie. Listen, I am your angelic, intuitive soul healer, y'all. And I'm back. Listen, I want to talk about relationships, right? As a woman, like what are some of the qualities and characteristics you need to look for when you are searching for a partner, or if you want to be in a relationship, like for real, like what are some of the things that you desire? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because see, in the Bible, when you read Acts 13 and 22, listen, you want a man like David after God's own heart, right? You don't want to be with somebody you after God's heart, but the man, he ain't after God's heart. What sense does that make? What sense does that make? Why do you want to be unequally yoked? Have you ever asked yourself that? Like, what are the qualities that I want in a mate, in a partner, in a spouse? Like, you know, have you just actually sat down and wrote you a list? Like, I want to talk about this. You know, do you want a man that fasts? Do you want somebody that pray? You know, do you want somebody that's loving, kind? You know, he call you sweetie. And like, these are some things that you need to know. This is why God, he give you time, right? He give you time by yourself so you can figure out, okay, what is it that I want? You know, in a protector, in a provider, you know, in a man that I have to submit myself to. Like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like, you know, as a submissive woman, you need to ask yourself, what am I going to submit to? Like, you know, because I know for me, I'm not finna submit to no man that ain't submitted to God. That's a hard thing to do. You want to live for Christ, but he want to live for the devil. So then you in a house and the household is divided. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Listen, you can pray all day for somebody. You can pray 7 years for a person. If the person don't want to change, they ain't going to change. And I don't care how many prayers you say. If God don't want that person to change and he harden that person's heart and give that person over to a reprobate mind, who want to live in the house with somebody that has a reprobate mind? Not me. I'm packing my stuff and I'm out, because it's certain things that I'm just not submitting to. Like, I'm not submitting to your flesh. That's what I'm not submitting to. But I will submit to the Spirit of God if you under the unction of the Holy Spirit. So you as a woman, these are some things that you need to ask yourself. What are the qualities that I want my mate to have? Because you don't want to be with a man that, first of all, I'm big on communication. I don't want to be with somebody that can't communicate with me. You can't, listen, we can't even have sex without communication. I'm sorry. So if you can't communicate with me, listen, you're going to be lacking in other areas of a relationship. And that ain't what I want. That's not what I want for my life. I need a man I can communicate with on an intellectual level. So I don't need somebody that is weak in communication. That ain't going to work with me. Not when I'm not when I'm a speaker. I'm going to just say that. Okay, that ain't gonna fly. So these are some things that you need to ask yourself as a woman. What are the qualities that I want? What do you want? Do you know what you want? You want a man after God's own heart, right? But also, how do you become the woman of a man's dreams? How do you become that woman? I ain't talking about outwardly. That's a part of it, but I'm talking about inwardly. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because a wife is supposed to pray for her husband. That's what God gave that's your duty as a wife. You're supposed to cover him in prayer, because he the one who you got to submit to this man, and then he got to lead the family. That's a big responsibility. That's a huge responsibility. So you got to ask yourself, like, every man is different. Every woman is different. What type of man do you want? As a man, you should be asking yourself you should know what type of woman you want. Like, listen, and it's the woman's choice to choose what type of man she want ruling and reigning over her life. Because if you a woman that submit to Christ, you don't want to be with a man that don't submit his life to Christ. Why would you even get into a relationship? Listen, y'all going down two separate paths, two different directions. That ain't gonna work. How can two walk together unless they agree? So this is why God, he gives you time so you can find yourself, so you can know what it is. Listen, and then the more, listen, I'm going to tell y'all, keep it real. The more you fail in relationships, the more you know what you don't want. So now you can understand what you do want. Okay, the qualities, the characteristics. I'm talking about the traits and the character of a person, of their inner man. Listen, do you want somebody that adore you? A man of respect, a man of honor, a hardworking man. I don't want listen, you don't want some brother that listen, it says that a man that don't provide for his family is worse off than an infidel, an unbeliever. You don't want nobody that ain't gonna be providing for your family. Like his work ethic. Listen, what is this man's work ethic? What is her work ethic? Because you got some women. And I'm going to tell you something about being a real woman. Just because a cat woman ain't no broke woman. Just because you sit at home and you a housewife, that don't mean you broke either. You know what I'm saying? You need to be doing something. Something with your time. Charity, giving back. Like, listen, make use of your time. When I was a stay-at-home wife, I homeschooled my children. I still homeschool the kids now. Even after being separated, like, listen, my thing is, what are you doing with your time? Like, how are you being productive as a wife? And I'm going to tell, being a housewife, sometimes, depending on the type of man you married to, the things that he required of you as his wife, as a woman, it can be more work than working outside the house. So being a woman in the home. So, like, these are things that we need to know before we get into a relationship. Is this man responsible with his finances? Me, that's a red flag for me. If I see a man is not responsible with his finances, I can't deal with him. Period. At all, on no level. You irresponsible. That means you can't listen. I'm financially responsible, so I want somebody that's financially responsible as me. Okay? So I ain't got time for people that got shady spending habits, okay? I need your money and your finances to be, submitted to God. So you can know how to govern what he's giving you accordingly, right? So listen, you want to be aware of this person's work ethic. Are they a hard worker, okay? Listen, are they going to protect you? They going to provide for you. Like, what do you want? What do you want? And, like, is he walking in his purpose? What are you doing? Is he walking in his purpose, right? And, like, if you walking in your purpose, like, marriage's purpose, like, what are we doing? What is the end goal? Like, you need to know what's going on in your marriage, in your relationship with who you connecting with. Like, everything should be on purpose. You shouldn't be connecting with somebody just because. No, what are we doing when we come together? What does God want us to do? Like, if you walking in your purpose, is he helping you fulfill your purpose? Are you helping him fulfill his purpose? Like, what are we doing? What is the end goal to this? Like, you need to know these things, Is the goal for us to become wealthy? Like, hey, do you want somebody that's a giver like you? Or do you want to be with somebody that's just a taker? These are things that you need to know. And you won't know these things until you actually map it out, write it out. Get a piece of paper, write this stuff down. What type of man you want? Like, what's going to be the level of our communication? Okay, if you a man, what type of woman do you want? Do you want a woman that's aware? Okay, and present? Listen, y'all, I'm just telling y'all the truth. So, listen. You want a man? I know for me, listen, y'all. all of this stems from my story, right? I want somebody that eat healthy. I don't want to have to cook pig feet every night. Okay? I don't eat pork. So I don't want to have to cook you pig feet and pinto beans and collard greens. I don't want to have to cook that every night. I don't want to. I did that already in my past life. I don't want to do that. So I need somebody. I want somebody that don't eat pork like me. That's my preference. So, these are things that you need to think about. You need to think about. Okay, does he have a healthy diet? Do you want a woman with a healthy diet? Do you want her to work out every day? Like, go find her then. Go find that woman. It's credit. Like, is this one of your deal breakers? The person has to have good credit. Like, do you want a man that work out? Some women like big men. Big fat man. I'm just saying, like, what you want, you need to know these things. I'm calling it out so you can understand, like, hey, I really need to evaluate what it is that I want in my life. Like, this is why God gave you time. So take this time to figure out, what is it that I want? What do I want this partner to look like? How do I want him to be? Like, what are some deal breakers? What are some pros, cons? Like, do you want this? Do you want them to have their own car because you got your own car? Do you want them to have their own house because you got your own house? Like, do you want a wise man or a foolish man? Some women love foolish men. I'm just saying. They love Nabal. A crooked man. Okay, a crooked man that be double dealing. Some women love these type of men. So, I'm just saying. Do you want a man that he got his own assets? Like hey, you got your own assets. Do you want somebody that, you know what I mean? These are things that you got to ask yourself. Do you want somebody that's faithful or unfaithful? Do you want somebody that's patient or hasty? So these are things, y'all, that you need to know. You need to know what it is that you want. Do you want somebody that's compassionate or not compassionate? Do you want somebody that's slow to anger, or they an angry man? Okay, some women, they love bitter men. I'm just saying. Do you want somebody that's, joyful or unhappy? Peaceful or toxic? Merciful or not merciful? Somebody that walk in the truth or walk in error. Somebody that's authentic or not authentic. They fake. I'm telling y'all, because some women love these type of things in a man. They love the toxic traits. So that's why I'm calling it out like that. So I'm just saying, like, do you want somebody that's gracious or not gracious? You want somebody, a man of long suffering, somebody that, you know what I'm saying? They do not lack patience, right? They are very patient. They're understanding. They're accommodating, okay? Do you want somebody that adore you? Do you want somebody that honors you, or they don't honor you? You know what I'm saying? They don't give respect when respect is given, or do, Like, do you want a strong man or a weak man? These are things do you want a manly man, or do you want listen, in this day and time we living in now, you got men walking around that's feminine, y'all. So you need to know what type of man you want. Do you want somebody that's gentle, kind, what? Like, these are things y'all need to know. So listen, these are just some qualities, y'all, that I'm calling it out so you can understand at the end of the day, what qualities and what characteristics and traits do you want in a mate? What do you want, and what you don't want? These are things that you need to understand as a person, as a human being, when you go into relationships with people, so you could be aware of the type of person you dealing with. Because see, everybody ain't a man or a woman of their word. Some people will actually people will masquerade around and they'll act as if, oh, they're such a good person when they really bad. Somebody else can come off as being bad and they might really be good. They might really have a good heart. So I'm just saying, you got to understand the character of a person and the things that you want versus the things that you don't want when you go into partnership. Partnership is very crucial, because you got to be careful, y'all, who you build with. What it took you years to build, it'll take you 5 minutes to lose if you don't build with the right person. Okay? So this is why I'm on here and I'm talking about this stuff, because it's important. You got many people that are in the world and they're married and they're miserable. Miserable and married. And that's what you don't want to be like. You don't want to be having a facade to the world like you happy and you really ain't. Because see, when you happy and you happily married, everybody gonna know it. Everybody gonna know that man or that woman make you happy. That is the man of your dreams and that is the woman of your dream. Everybody gonna know it, honey. They gonna know this couple here, they in love. They love each other. And that's when you're really gonna get some hate, because everybody ain't got true love. Some people they ain't never seen what that look like, because they so used to being in toxic relationships with people. You know what I'm saying? They don't understand healthy love and what that consists of, you know? So I'm done. I plead my case, okay, on this one right here. Just make sure that y'all understand the qualities that you want in a mate, and make sure the person that you gonna connect with, first of all, on the spiritual level, make sure that person, they already healed their past life ancestral karma, because you don't have time to be attached to a man or a woman that got bad karma. Not when you got good fortune, baby. Listen, I'm just keeping it real with y'all. I know what I'm talking about, and I don't know who I'm talking to, but I know I'm talking to somebody. You got to sit down, get your piece of paper, okay, paper and a pen, and write down the qualities that you want in your spouse. I'm telling you, it'll do you some good.